Steve here at West Green. Welcome to part 4 of my video of building the J69. Today's something a bit different. I'm working on the chassis and it's all ready to go. Well, when I say it's ready to go, what I need is the wheels before I can go any further. They should be here in the next few days. They were posted over a week ago they've left the UK, so they're somewhere. Anyway, so I'm going to actually work on the body. I've got the footplate done, so I always match it up with the chassis. But I thought, well, what I can do is prepare the tank sides. And what that needs to do is the doors need fitting in, and there's a beading that goes around there. Now, one thing I've noticed, got to be careful because you solder it on the inside this, it's a bit of flexibility. So what I need to do is locate that in the lugs. There's lugs on here, locate that in there. So I've got the door exactly, so that when I solder it in, it's exact. Otherwise, if I solder it in and it's slightly out, it's not going to go in the tabs. So I need to do that. Now, one other thing people have pointed out, and I said this, I said never again would I build 2 kits at once. I had a B1 and my A4, which is up there, and that's when I finished the B1 and I was going to do the A4, and I still am. However, what has changed, and this will be a quick build. When I was in the UK, recently I caught up with Jim McGowan on the Severn Valley Railway, and anyway, got talking about the J69 because I know someone, Dan Haynes, who's built one. Even though the kit has not been released, it was an old legacy kit, but Jim is re-releasing this. So anyway, it's still not been released as of the 8th of July 2025 today. So I got an email from Jim and he said he would let me have a kit, which I've now got. So I said to Jim, and I consider Jim a good friend, and I'm happy with all his products. So I said, Jim, what I'll do is I will complete this kit, do a video of it, and probably help him out in a way. Yeah, so that's the reason I've started this. And if I had the wheels, this is not going to take long to finish. Well, paint is another thing, but to get it built, that's going to take it won't be all that long. I'm going to turn this off now. I'm on a stand. So I've got to put these doors in, and also, if I can see it, this is the beading that fits around the cab. But the problem is, as I said, it's all right when it's on the fret. See, this flexes. So you've got to make sure that is exactly right before you put the door in. So the easiest way for me to do that is to put it in there. Then I can just tack solder it, and then I know this is correct. If I put it in and it's wrong and it's out there or in there, it's not going to fit in the tabs. So we'll give this a go. Now I've got this on. I use electrical solder because when I solder the back on, I use low melt. If I use the same solder, that's likely to come out. Also notice that these are handed, so there's a little ridge on one side. The back fits flush and it sits out here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to solder this all up, flux it all up, and draw some of this solder back and clean it up. So I've got one on. I've just fluxed it and got the solder back. I just had to clean it up a bit, but it's pretty good. It's flush with that side and pre-aired on that side. Yeah, I'm going to put the door on next. Hello all, Steve here. Bit of a disaster on this, well, not a disaster, a minor setback on this J69. See the cab beading? Well, one side was too low, so I went to unsolder it, and anyway, just cut a long story short, I broke about 7mm off, so I broke about that much off one end. And worse still, I can't find the bit I broke off because I was going to try and solder it back on. So now I'm a bit up Sticky Date Pudding Creek, and I don't know what I can do, whether I can make one of these or ring Grovel to Jim and see if I can get another one. He might have a scrap fret or test etches. Anyway, bit annoying. Anyway, let me know what you think. Thank you. So there I was, busily soldering up these. There's the other one. I've done the doors. However, then I had a bit of a disaster. I put this on slightly wrong. Anyway, I was messing around trying to unsolder it, and about 5-6mm. So in other words, about that much has broken off the end. Worse still, I can't. I thought I'll solder it back on, patch it up, but it's not on the bench. And I've looked on the floor and I can't find it. So that will require some thought. However, something else happened. This arrived. This is the wheels for this kit. So I think I'll put this to one side, give this some thought what I'm going to do, and at least I can get back on with the chassis, which is what I was going to do in the first place. What a day. After I broke the beading on the cab, I've spoken to Jim, I can get another one, so it's no great drama. Worse things have happened. So I've got this running. So what I do, because it can bind, and it normally binds when the rods are like that, and you've got to find, you have to open up one of these holes. So rather than do 6 wheels, I do a centre and 2. This wheel's take off, so I make sure that's running. Then I do the other end, these 2 as a pair, because if you've got all 6 on, then you don't know which end it is. So that's working pretty well. So I just put the 4 nuts on. I haven't put the middle ones on. That runs really well. Continue on with the chassis now.